still a possibility that maybe we throw a couple extra fights on and a few people have to fight in the daytime. And
Tyler, he's there morning and night anyways. I could chuck it at football. Anyways, now as we're done stringing everybody along, we finally got the man himself, Johnny Cupcakes, who was recently added to the card.
Is he driving?
Where's your picture, Johnny?
I'm driving. I'm going to pull over in a second.
You going to pull over?
I think safety first.
I mean,
that's a good call.
There's a donkeys coming up.
There you go.
How you boys doing?
Doing great, Cupcakes. What's going on, man?
Just living the dream.
I'm upset we're not going to have Cupcakes Corner this time around, but I'm excited that I get to call another Johnny Cupcakes fight. And it's been a long time since you've been in the cage as a competitor. You've been doing a great job with the interviews, jumping in the commentary booth, putting yourself in the Dean Thomas role, which has grown and gotten better show after show. But Mr. Cage Titans himself is back performing in the cage at Cage Titans. How does it feel to hear those words right now?
Oh man, it's an honor. You know, the product that we, I guess, have all built, we are Cage Titans, has been amazing. To be able to see it blossom into what it is it's been an amazing ride. And I've been hungry to get into the Cage Titans cage for some time. Literally since I walked out of there last year or 2 years ago when I fought Aaron Lacey, it was such an experience to get in there then. And it's just every card, every event is bigger and better, and I'm just more hungry than ever to be in that cage in front of that crowd and to be able to perform for the Cage Titans community.
I got to say, I was listening, but I was actually recounting how many times you fought for Cage Titans. This will be the 26th time, I believe, if I did my quick count right. 26 times you've stepped inside the Cage Titans cage. You know, truly, Mr. Cage Titans.
Yeah, Cage Titans, I think one. You know, I think the first one. I kicked Brandon Boggs in the balls, I think. Cage Titans won.
I say, Cage Titans won, sure as shit. I think that was your pro debut, and you kicked the dude in the balls, and he quit. And he didn't want any more part of it.
That one kick was enough for him. He was like, no, thank you. I felt that. If that hits me in the face, I'm going to die. And he sent it home after that.
I'll never forget back then. I wish I could pull up the interviews we used to, you know, I have like the clean cut Johnny Cupcakes. And do you remember the rematch? We were trying to book the rematch and he like videotaped in his shower.
Yep. It was a good opportunity to talk some shit. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. You've done some crazy shit. Johnny's like, you know, obviously 26 fights going down memory lane, like never mind our personal lives as our friends. But I'll never forget Fernando Perez when you fought. We were recording like a pre-fight video and Johnny just went off. He's like, I've been watching horror movies. I'm going to murder him in the cage. You're going to see. I'm going to take a knife to the cage. And I'm like, Johnny, cut. I cannot use any of this in the pre-fight interview. What are you doing?
I've learned a lot, you know. I've learned a lot. My promo shooting is way better now.
You know,
I've learned a lot, he says. I've learned a lot.
He learned a lot as he's learned a lot, yet in his announcement that he's fighting, he's talking about doing some inappropriate things.
You know, I'm a flavorful guy. What can I say?
I can't even say it. I mean, you guys go look at Johnny Cupcakes.
I like that Nick ran with it and posted something up and like referenced what I said. I thought that was great.
Yeah, I haven't had the heart, but since you brought it up, I was going to kind of have a talk with Nick about reposting that on our page. But the fans seem to like it because they know you're Johnny Cupcakes and they expect it.
Exactly. It's an all ages program though tonight. So
yeah, we're gonna keep it PG. So anyways, why don't you let everybody know who you're gonna be fighting and what do you think about this match?
I'm gonna be fighting Jay Presley from Florida. He's 7-4, and he seems to be a quality fighter, and I am more than ready for the challenge.
Nice.
I'm just stoked to have him back. I mean, Jay Presley hasn't fought the Cage Titans before, but he's been on a surge at the pro ranks.
He's moved up here. He's living.
He's training at a Fitchburg, if I'm not mistaken.
With Mike Zucchelli now.
Yeah. So yeah, I know that he brings a crowd, and he's going to probably bring a crowd to Cage Titans for his debut right there, fighting Mr. Cage Titans himself, and it's a tough drink of water for any man. But this is a young, hungry up-and-comer right here. But you're so far into your career, you fought everybody from the most seasoned and gritty veterans from your early days all the way to the young bucks up and coming now, and there's nothing you haven't seen right there, and it's just another day in the office for you, as I'm going to surmise. But how excited are you about this next opponent?
I'm so pumped. I'm pumped to come in, make a statement. I just feel that I'm on a different level than all the competitors that are fighting in New England. You know, I've fought everywhere. I've fought everyone. My most recent fight was against, you know, an ex-UFC title challenger on 10 days notice, coming off of the biggest injury that I've ever had in my life. And I stepped in that cage at like maybe 60% and performed pretty damn well until I got fucking exhausted from a brutal weight cut, as you could expect on 10 days notice. I mean, I didn't even know if my shoulder was going to stay on my body when I fought Wilson Reyes, and I didn't have any questions in my mind whether or not I could get in there and stand toe to toe with someone that was one of the best in the world at one point. I want to get in there and show everyone what mixed martial arts truly is. And I feel like at 36, I'll be 37 years old standing in that cage on March 30th. And I feel better than I've ever felt. I'm still improving. I'm always getting better. I love to learn, and I love to beat my body up and get in good shape. I mean, we're 5 weeks out from the fight, and I look like a fucking supermodel, for God's sakes. I mean, my body is pristine right now already. And these guys who fight at 135 and then they're bloating up and fighting at 145 because they can't fucking handle that weight cut, or they can't handle the diet. They don't have the discipline to fight at 135 pounds. I will do it on 10 days notice against some of the best in the world. And what you're going to see on March 30th is the best Cupcakes that has ever been. And at 30, I just think it's all mental, 37, and I'm getting better and I'm getting stronger. I'm still as fast as ever. I'm sharper in my mind. I'm more mature. I just got my black belt specifically because of my maturity level, because I've grown so much as a human being in this sport, and I've learned so many lessons in the cage. And I'm just excited to get in and show everybody what I'm truly all about. I feel like people forget sometimes. I fight, people are like, holy fuck, that guy's good. And then 2 weeks later, nobody remembers for some reason. And I'm just going to remind everyone why I should be fighting at the top of the division, and why I could absolutely still be making a case for UFC. Now, at my age, are they going to sign somebody like me? If I cave Presley's head in a way that is spectacular, like I know I can, and I know that I will, then yeah, maybe that can happen. And then you put somebody like Jay Perrin in front of me, and I cave his head in, an ex-UFC fighter, for the Cage Titans belt later in the year. Yeah, I really truly believe that anything is possible, and I'm still in this to be one of the best of all time.
Damn. You just did my job for me, too. You're matchmaking, you're promoting. I mean, is there anything you cannot do, Mr. Cupcakes?
I've been in this game a long time, baby.
I was going to ask, you mentioned your age, 37, or you're going to be 37. What do you think it is? Because, you see guys starting to slow down at that age. Xavier Cardona's pumping you up, too. He's another guy who's, mid to late 30s. What do you think it is? What do you attribute it? Is it the meat diet that you're on? What is it that's keeping you so young?
You should take a look at my YouTube, recommendations. I am always learning. I'm always on the cutting edge. Meat diet, salt intake is so important. I've always been a proponent of the law of attraction and how strong the mind is. And I feel like the second that you think, oh man, I'm slowing down, oh man, I can't hang with these young bucks, that is bullshit. That, of course you can't with that attitude. I can do anything, and I can get better into my late 30s. And I know that, and that belief in myself is what carries me forward. And the second that you let your mind become your enemy, it's over. And technically it's not over, because if you can get a hold of that bullshit and get in front of it, then anyone can do whatever they want. It's just that I don't think everybody wants to be able to excel at life the way I want to. Breathing, I mean, I got fasting, these things that like people probably would never put any stock in are so important. I mouth breathed for like my entire career, training, sleeping, I mouth breathed. And that just made me a worse human being. And now I'm nasal breathing all pretty much always. And that literally makes me better at fighting, at life, at everything. I was a chicken and broccoli guy. I tried fucking vegetarianism. I did all the bullshit. Meat, red meat, so important. They tell you to take 2,000 milligrams of salt a day. They being the World Health Organization, they should be put in fucking jail for that. And fasting. I love Aaron Hughes, but he's a big guy on like, eat 6 small meals a day, blah, blah, blah. You need carbohydrates. Bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. If we were cavemen and we were fasted for 3 days and we hadn't eaten for 3 days and a squirrel ran by you, you would be fucking optimal to hunt, hungry. You should be hungry all the time. You should not be filling yourself up constantly. And these are things that literally I study being a human being and optimizing how to be a good, powerful human being. And that is what makes me be able to excel at this level. I've been saying it a while. Tom Brady and I got a lot in common. And I think that absolutely you can be a better fighter, a better athlete into your later years. It's up here and it's inside. It's what you want. And what I want is I want to be remembered as one of the best combat athletes to ever exist. And I will continue to strive to become that. And I promise you that my name's going to be in the goddamn history books one day.
Damn, I mean, listen, preach, my man. Get on that soapbox and preach. I love it. Yeah, I'm getting chills thinking about it. And like, man, maybe I should dust it off and lose some LBs and get back in there one more time.
I do privates. I do privates.
I know you've been chatting about getting that OCD third KO.
I still got to do one more in me, but I got to ask. Aaron Hughes says you're a liar. Tom Brady eats vegetables.
Well, Tom Brady's a jackass. He's retired.
And Rob Terrell, hold on. Who else we got? We got somebody says they want you to run for president.
I'm in.
I've been thinking about going into politics. I got to get the gab, so
I'd vote for you.
So one other question from Cam Arnold: how long do you plan on competing for?
I've said it for a long time. I'm gonna compete until the wheels fall off. So when the day comes that I legitimately feel like I can't compete any longer, that is when I'll call it quits. But until then, it's a question mark. I could be Greg. I could be Greg Jones fighting for that OG belt one day. I don't know. But I'm just going to continue to go until my body can't handle it anymore. And because it's something that I absolutely love to do. And it's the most fun, just driving down the highway the other day, heading to the gym. And I literally had tears welling up in my eyes because I was just reflecting on all the amazing memories that I have now, standing in front of Wilson Reyes and fucking, fighting some of the guys that I've fought, beating guys like Bruno Diaz and Henry Corrales, and in dominant fashion. Like, these are things that I'm going to be able to reflect on when I'm 80 years old. And not everybody has the opportunity to do that. There are people with no fucking limbs who would kill for the opportunity to do what I do. And the fact that I'm able to do it at a high level, in my, 30s, it's a fucking blessing. And I'm going to just take that as far as I possibly can. I do not see, you get like an invitation to a party and it's like, starts at 5, ends at question mark. That's what my career is right now. I don't know when that day comes, but I'll tell you what, last year or the last couple of years dealing with my neck shoulder injury, there were points where I was literally like, fuck, I think I'm done. My right arm is not working. I don't think that I can ever compete again. And then, and I did, because the mind is that strong. And whatever the mind does to you that can put you in a position where you feel like you're at rock bottom and it's all over, you can turn that all around with the right mental. And I'm just going to keep doing what I love to do, which is get in there, compete, test myself, keep adding tools to my tool belt, and keep performing, because that's ultimately what I'm doing in that cage. Is, I can remember back playing high school hockey, and I was obviously a smaller guy, and I would just smash bigger guys, check them, whatever you want to, call it. And the roar from the crowd when I would upend a guy, it was orgasmic. And there's just nothing like competing in the cage and beating somebody at what they've been trained to do. And I absolutely love it. And I just can't stop doing it.
So real quick, I love Aaron Hughes. This fight is actually at 35, not 45. So he is going to be competing at 35. He was asking if you're going to be at 45 forever, or are you going to go back down to 35? This fight's at 35. You're talking about some of your favorite memories. You mentioned Wilson Hayes, some of these people you competed against. We had a great time when we went to Brazil. The air, not so much. That was a little crazy. But, bring us down memory lane for some of these people who haven't been around Cage Titans since Cage Titans 1. Like, give me your top maybe 2 moments in Cage Titans that you've had.
Man, I think personally fighting Aaron Lacey on 2 weeks' notice, jumping up to 145 and getting him out of there before the second round was probably one of the best feelings, because I actually broke my hand in that fight, and I was sitting on the stool, and Bill was like, "Keep winging that right hand," and I was like, "I can't actually." I can't, my hand is fucked. And he said, "All right, well, go take him down then. You're going to have to take him down." And when I peeked over the shoulder of Bill and I saw the doctor walking towards Aaron Lacey, it was like, they're going to stop this fucking fight. And that was one of the best emotions that I've ever felt in that cage. I screamed into the camera, "This is the fucking beginning." And that's because that's how I feel. I feel like every single fight that I have is like a rebirth and a new opportunity. And you, as most know, it's not like I'm some undefeated fighter. I've lost 15 fucking times inside of that cage, and I've never been deterred once. Never once. I can remember I took a fight with Jeff Haddad on short notice and lost. And my parents basically sat me down, and they had like somewhat of an ultimatum, and they were like, "Are you going to keep doing this?" And it was like, "You don't understand. This is the best thing that I've ever done in my entire life. It is the most fun." I remember Haddad had me in a body triangle, and his calf was across my cup, and my nuts were like falling out of my cup, and he was crushing my ball sack with his body triangle. And I thought to myself, I'm going to have to maybe tap right now because of my nut sack. And then I lost, and I'm just never deterred. I know that I can always improve. I know that I can always get better, and I can learn. And people who can't, I heard a quote from Kobe Bryant recently where he said, "You can't get hung up on the results. You have to be just curious and continue to grow and continue to hammer it out." And that's how I feel my career has always been. I'm not going to be deterred by not winning. And You know, I'd say one of my favorite memories in Cage Titans cage was losing to a guy that I never should have lost to, Fernando Perez. You know, we took that fight at a higher weight class, and he hit me with a body kick, and my body basically shut down. I ended up I lost that fight, and I fucking, I put my head through a wall that night, literally smashed my head through a historic building wall. They probably could have pressed charges on me, and then ran off into the night in just my fight shorts and hand wraps, and went and basically contemplated suicide by the beach in fucking Plymouth, and that is ultimately one of my favorite memories of all time, because talk about rock bottom. Like, when you hit rock bottom, that's where you can start to put the pieces back together. And losing might not be most people's fucking fondest memory, but it literally taught me who I was, because at that moment I could have just quit at life, and that's just not who I am. It was like, we're going to just get back in there and we're going to do it again.
Oh, geez, man. I do remember that night. We did have to pay a pretty penny to fix the historical Plymouth Memorial Hall and not get like federal charges for destroying that wall.
Is probably, we got that. It's the most updated wall in Memorial Hall, I'm sure of it.
That's an expensive fucking wall too. I remember when they gave me the bill, I was like, damn. But either way, I'm gonna let you go. I know you're driving home, but you know, you're in the elevator right now. Give us the elevator pitch for all the fans who may have forgot about Johnny Cupcakes and why they should be out here on March 30th when you take on Jay Presley.
If you just YouTube Cupcakes Campbell and you watch some of my highlights, you watch some of my fights, I have beat and fought against some of the best fighters literally on the planet. And I am arguably the most exciting fighter that's ever touched foot in that cage. I think Peter Barrett might make an argument for that, but I think that I am one of the most electrifying fighters that's ever stepped foot in the Cage Titans cage, and that's saying something. And what I'm going to do to Jay Presley, the statement that I'm going to make, and then the call-outs that I'm going to have after, let me just say, you know, the meme of like, oh, Mom, I want McDonald's. And it's like, no, we have McDonald's at home. We have good matchups at home that I should be fighting. And when I beat Jay Presley down, I'm going to ask for these matchups directly. And these fucking people better step up, because I step up every fucking time. One thing I do not do is handpick opponents. I got stuck with Jay Presley. I'm sure he's a fine fighter, but I'm going to dominate that man. I'm going to make everybody in Memorial Hall shocked and elated with my performance. And then we're going to just continue to pave the road forward for the biggest fights that Cage Titans has ever seen. And we will be fighting for a title. I don't care who it is. John Duma ran, Jay Perrin ran. These motherfuckers better step up and fight, because I'm fighting, and I'm willing to fight anybody.
There you go.
Man,
I got to give a quick one. I got the chills going down the arm. I got to give a shout out to Kenny Champion out of Connecticut, because, you know, I saw Dan Bonnell comment on your post, and he was like, dude, the balls Johnny has to be like, anybody can fucking get it, and no one responded. And I do got to give a shout out to Kenny Champion. He did message me and was like, hey, listen, if Johnny has nobody, I'm down. So shout out to Kenny Champion, because he was one guy in New England that answered the call. Granted, he's a higher weight class. You know, he's only got 5 fights, so it didn't really make a ton of sense. But, you know, balls to him. But, man, I can't wait for March 30th. It's been a long time. Yeah, at least, what, a year or two since you last fought? That was the Lacey fight, or was it
Yep.
Lacey. So
yeah, man, it's been too long since I've seen you in the cage. As much as I'm going to miss you in the booth, sitting cage side this time around, I'm just as stoked to be able to call another Johnny Cupcakes Campbell fight. And sounds like you're not hanging them up for a long time to come. So should be the first one in this resurgence of quite some more before you do officially call it. But you know that you always get a seat in the booth whenever you want to. But best of health and training and good skill in the fight, and can't wait to sit there and call another Cupcakes fight. It's been a long time since we had Mr. Cage Titans at Cage Titans. So definitely looking forward to your reemergence and how you remind everybody. So
Thank you. I'm excited and very honored to be there and to do what I do. So thank you guys. I appreciate it.